Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Hi, I'm Jason, with Jason Pollock. I am not Jason. Joining Jason and Justin this episode are their friends Mark Riccadonna and Richie Byrne, the hosts of Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. They brought along a very special guest, President and CEO of the beautiful Palace Theater in Stamford, Connecticut, Mike Moran. Now the man you haven't been waiting for, Jason Pollock!
Hello and welcome to another special episode of Hi, I'm Jason. And this is special because we have a dual show today. As you see in the corner, it says Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. That's the podcast radio show of the very funny Richie Byrne and Mark Riccadonna. I'm going to bring in my co-host first. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host and band leader, Justin Gonzalez.
Hey, I heard it's a duel.
Yeah, you usually have a ukulele.
Well, you said duel, man. I'm Puerto Rican. I brought a knife.
Justin, I don't want to offend anybody. We're not about that.
Oh,
okay. I'm going to bring in the co-host of Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling, Mark Riccadonna.
Hey! Wait, I heard duel?
Boy, crazy boy.
I was impressed by the knife, Justin.
I know.
and your ability to just use it.
I told him.
Snapped it up, just said, Spanish to me.
Hey, I'm here. I'm here for business, man. You don't bring a ukulele to a knife fight.
I did tell you their guest, who they brought on our show, is a beautiful theater owner. I mean, he's beautiful himself, but the theater is beautiful as well. So instead of your musical talents, you bring a knife. You want to impress him, but...
Well, I don't bring the knife to the theater. That's what I bring the ukulele to the theater.
This has just been starting off with tons of puns.
I mean, my God, Jason. Jason, you are to hosting what Vinny Naughtiello is to comedy.
The whole audience at the same time went, who?
He mentioned me.
And we have a very special guest. Let's get to it because this man has a time crunch and needs to get out of here.
He's beautiful.
He's beautiful.
According to Jason, he's beautiful.
Oh, I thought you were taking a long pregnant pause. He's beautiful. Theater owner. Let's bring him out, everybody. Mike Moran, everybody. So the way we start every show is we start with a drink. So let's go around the room and see what everybody's drinking. We'll start with, let's start with our guest, Mike.
As I told you, it's going to be vodka on the rocks. No mixer, just straight vodka today.
Nice, my man.
I like him. He has. Yeah, what kind of vodka are we talking?
Stoli today.
Ooh. Yeah, this guy does not pull punches. This is an early recording too, so this guy knows how to party.
Originally I was scheduled for a 6 o'clock show, and that's happy hour, so that's no problem. But we moved to 3, and as Mark mentioned, I have something else to do, so it's a half pour today.
It's okay. It's only 4 fingers. Let's see what are we drinking, Jason Pollock.
Well, considering it's harvest season, I got a special hard cider from Spellbound Brewery.
Spellbound Brewery hard cider. I like it. Justin?
So I'm a Pennsylvania boy originally, and so today I am drinking a Yingling Porter, but it's they're teaming up with Hershey's chocolate, so it's a Hershey's chocolate porter.
Nice,
wow,
really good.
We're
really
going
good.
with how is it taste? Is it heavy or is it?
It's not too far from their lager, and really, especially with your first few sips, if you're a slow drinker, you really get that chocolate, that real Hershey chocolate taste.
Oh, I like that.
Richie, you always want your beer.
Yeah. Who put the peanut butter in the chocolate? Who put the chocolate? Who gives a shit? I want it in my beer. Richie, what do we got?
No, you go first because you go first.
All right, I have Duke whiskey, and I mixed it with a little Coke because the whiskey is so tough it'll take the paint right off your teeth. So I cut it with a little Coke.
Nice. Now, here's the problem, Mark. Now, you know I'm an alcoholic.
Of course.
And I'm good at it.
That's why we get along.
Yes. And we've had many shows now. We're in our third season, and we've had guests on who really did not get the idea of that they should have a drink. You know what I mean? Right, Mark? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
But today, my God, these three came through like gangbusters. My God. I mean, really, like they were prepared.
Everybody was ready for a drink.
They had unique drinks. They explained their drinks. And I have a gig tonight, so I went with Diet Coke.
Richie,
now in front of the four of
you. Richie, did you ever have that without liquor in it?
You know that you can go straight up Diet Coke?
Bring that can over here and I'll pour a little of this in it.
Did you guys know that Coke was sweet? I never knew that till today.
I always thought it tasted lightly like gasoline. Well, that's awesome. Well, we also, the second thing we do during every show is we like to tell a joke. And we have three guests. So tonight, Richie, we got an easy night. We can sit back and let them tell some jokes.
I planned on that anyway, Mark. So go ahead.
Well,
yeah, Richie's not really one for heavy lifting.
I haven't prepared for a show yet this season. So
the focus is on Mike. Mike volunteered his time to be here tonight. You're not paying him, right? Volunteered. Did I get that right?
That's right. I did. Nope.
All right. So I wanted to make it a quick joke. You warned me about this, so. What does a horny frog say?
What does
a horny frog say?
What did Mike?
Rip it?
Oh, rub it.
Rub it. Oh, God. All right. Here we go. Ron Chester, 89 years of age, was stopped by police around 2 a.m. and was asked, "Where are you going this time of night?" Ron replied, "I'm on my way to a lecture about alcohol abuse and the effects it has on the human body, as well as smoking and staying out late." The officer asked, "Really? And who's giving that lecture at this time of night?" Ron replied, "That would be my wife."
I can speak for two of us that that's an actual true story.
Right? I've heard the lecture.
Once again, Mark, completely prepared, unlike almost every other guest we ever had on.
I know. We have to have theater people on more often. They actually, which goes with my quote: "All the world is a stage, and most of us are desperately unrehearsed." This is all tying together.
Justin, do you have one?
Oh, it's my turn. Right. So a priest, a rabbi, and a mom walk into a bar. The bartender says, "This got to be a joke."
Hey.
That's three great jokes.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
I think we should end.
I know. Folks, this is a perfect show. But right before you hopped on, we were talking to Mike, and he was telling us he does these monthly. Was it always monthly?
Oh, my consortium calls?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was telling the guys that it's like a lifetime sentence. I'm the president of the Consortium of Eastern Regional Theaters. We've got about 100 members, and there are agents and artists and theater operators. And it was when COVID started, we did these weekly town halls. Now it's bi-monthly, and next month we go to monthly. And it's funny, we started, everything was scripted, right? We had to have panelists and agenda and all kinds of topics. Now, today, I'll get on at 4 o'clock. No clue. I'll start talking. It's an hour. It works. It doesn't work. Whatever. Someone once told me I used to be really nervous about public speaking. And one of my board members said, "Oh, don't worry. They didn't come to see you."
Mike, you're slowly becoming a stand-up comic. At the beginning, you have material. You write new stuff. You're excited to do it. And then you're like, just wing it. So now you're doing the show, and you said you were interviewing Elvis's tour manager.
Yeah, that's different. That's another thing that I've picked up. So Steve Love from Love Productions, an agency out of New York, has a plethora of tribute bands on his roster. And so he asked me if I would do some interviews with some of the artists on his roster. And so the show is called Artists on Lockdown. And the first one I did was a guy by the name of David Victor. David was actually in the band Boston from 2010 to 2014. Look it up. It's a real thing. And so, you know, I did a thing with, again, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about, right? I got a couple of questions on a piece of paper. Hey, David, you know, how did it feel to sing More Than a Feeling? And so all of a sudden, I'm asking him questions about, you know, Emac and Bolio's, which is a little ice cream joint up in Boston that was opened by a lawyer. And we're just going at it for over half an hour. Yesterday, I was on with Charles Stone, who was Elvis Presley's tour manager for a while. The show that he's touring is called The Concert of Kings. 3 Elvis impersonators and Charles Stone. And these guys go out and they do the show, and there's a young Elvis who comes out and sings some of the music that Elvis did when in his younger years. And then there's a middle-aged Elvis and an older Elvis. And Charles comes out in between these guys' costume changes and sets, and he tells stories about what it's like to have been with Elvis. And I think he was with Elvis for 7 years. Guy's real character.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That is a cool show.
Is it? I mean, I would imagine the perfect blend would be you have a young Elvis come out, do the early stuff.
Right.
Then you have like movie star Elvis come out, you know, and then you have big Elvis when he was more the ballad Elvis.
Well, we don't say that.
For the last Elvis.
Oh,
Let's call him ballad Elvis.
I've been calling him Xanax Elvis.
I could do the look for Xanax Elvis. I got the look down. I can't sing like him though.
I don't know.
Was that your wife called you a fat Paul Rudd?
Yeah. I've never gotten just a celebrity. It's always adjective celebrity. A fat Paul Rudd. If Johnny Depp let go. If I've never gotten a Nigel. Mike, who do you get?
Oh God! When I was younger, believe it or not, I used to get Tom Selleck.
Nice.
It's the mustache, obviously.
I get Ted Turner.
Still not bad.
No,
Not bad. I would take that.
I would trade.
So,
or Lois Griffin's father.
Yes.
So wait, Turner. So wait, we need Richie and Mike to do a live stage version of Family Guy.
Well, ironically, Mark, I never wear my glasses, but my eyes bother me. I wore my glasses, and I really do look like him a lot when I look like him. Which is really not a great look.
So, Mike, you're in Connecticut. Tell us a little bit about your theater.
All right, so Palace Theater is built. It was built in 1927. Wow. We seat a little over 1,600 people, and we do everything. I mean, we do stand-up comedy, we do touring national concerts, we do a little bit of touring Broadway, not a lot. Our local symphony comes in and brings us the classical music scene. Our local ballet comes in and does the Nutcracker. We do about 130 shows a year. And, you know, comedy and family programming is probably the stuff that does financially the best for us. People love comedy. People love comedy.
Yeah.
And so we've been really fortunate. Jerry Seinfeld has played The Room, Jeff Dunham, Tracy Morgan, Ron White, Louis Black. So, you know, we've done very, very well in the comedy front. And then the kids stuff, you know, Wild Kratts, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Peppa Pig, you name it. And we'll do 2 shows in one day, sell them both out. And I think it works. The diversity of programming works because we're so close to New York City. And for us, really good to, you know, give people an opportunity to come locally and see something. But that's why I think touring Broadway doesn't do very well, because you're so close to New York City. The best of the best is there. 45, 50 minutes, you're seeing Hamilton, right? So why am I take a 4th world tour or a 10th world tour of Rent or 42nd Street and charge someone $75 when I could charge someone $75 for Louis Black and Louis brings the house down?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, what town are you in?
Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay. And I saw on your website that you have dates coming up. Like I saw in March, or are those old dates?
No, we've had to move, right? Our little COVID-19 crisis.
What, is this wishful thinking, or are you?
No, I'm hoping, because some of these things, like if you see that, Daughtry is on our calendar.
Yes.
Wow.
Daughtry was on our calendar for March of 2020. We moved it to September of 2020, and now we've moved it off into 2021 because we're still closed. I mean, the state of Connecticut just moved to phase 3. And so for us, what that means is that we can go to 50% capacity, but superseded by social distancing. So we can only sell like 340 tickets in a 1,600 seat theater.
Right.
Economically, you can't make that work. I mean, if your fee to come play my theater is $50,000 and I based 1,600 tickets, so I could, pay the marketing and pay the, pay your fee, and all of a sudden I can only sell 340 tickets now, the economics just don't work.
That's a heavy ticket.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll come for 25,000. We'll make
it. $25? Geez, no problem. One day.
Look at Richie giving you half off. Wow, what a gentleman.
So, it's funny. I had a show that I thought we were going to be able to do, the Halloween Spooktacular. I actually, you mentioned Dan and Jerry, and they run DCA Productions, and so they have an artist roster as well. And I booked this Halloween Spooktacular with them, and we had it on the calendar. We closed March, whatever it was, 12th, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And the Halloween Spooktacular doesn't play well at Christmas, and it doesn't play well at St. Patrick's Day. It's got to be Halloween. So
but they all have masks on, so that's a bummer.
It's a Cirque show.
Well, it might play well at Purim. I don't know how familiar you are with the Hebrew calendar holidays, but my people have their Halloween in March.
Maybe we'll talk to Dan. Maybe we can get it moved, and we'll diversify our audience. So anyway, I left it on the calendar, and I called Dan, and I said, "Listen, hey, we're going into phase 3. We're going to be able to make this work. Beautiful thing." And I put the show on sale. And now all of a sudden, Connecticut's spiking. COVID cases are spiking all over the state. Connecticut has this travel advisory list, right? There were like 34 or 38 states on the travel advisory list. And I think that over the past couple of weeks, Connecticut's numbers have gone up so high that theoretically, Connecticut would have had to have put itself on its own travel advisory list.
Wow.
So, it's just, it's safety first, guys, right? Safety.
Yeah.
So it didn't make any sense to jeopardize the patrons or the staff. So I called Dan. I said, "Listen, Dan, we'll find another time to do this. Let's not put anybody in jeopardy by doing this show." So here we are, closed again.
What date did you close? March 4th?
The last show that we did, the last event that we did was March 6th. I had shows scheduled for the 12th, 13th, and 14th, that entire weekend. Yes. And we shut it down the afternoon of the 12th. And so that whole weekend of shows was lost. The only event we did between March 6th and now was Senator Blumenthal was actually going around and doing some press conferences from local theaters just to state that he was in support of the Save Our Stages Act and the Restart Act. And so his team called and said, "Can we do a press conference in Stamford?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, absolutely, love to have it. Socially distanced, 25 people max, but we had the senator in Stamford." So
and he goes, "All right, I'm going to try out some new material. You guys cool?" So, Jason,
where's the light?
I'm going to have you pop up these photos, and then Mike, you give us first thing that pops in your mind if a good story comes to mind on these.
Trevor Noah, brilliant. This guy is brilliant. So we had an opportunity to have Trevor Noah at the Palace Theater before he took over for Jon Stewart on The Daily Show.
Wow.
And, the agent calls and says, the guy's going to do three shows in the New York area. You've got to drop your radius clause. And in this business, the radius clause is something that we put into all of our contracts so that we're not competing against, the theater 9 miles down the road. He said, "If you want him, you got to drop the radius clause." I said, "I want him." And so we signed the deal, and Trevor comes in. He's just as gracious as the day is long. And he's just brilliant. Brilliant.
Was his opening act the late, great Angelo Lozada?
It was.
Yeah.
Correct.
We absolutely love Angelo on the show, and we really miss him. He passed away a little while ago. But he was
last December, right before Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
And Angelo was an extremely funny guy too. I do a little series in a small room at the theater called Laugh Tracks, and Angelo was so funny. I brought him back for the Laugh Track series.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know. I'm sorry to hear that, guys.
Yeah, we love Angelo.
He was a good friend to the show. We loved him a lot.
Yeah, good guy. Again, just as gracious as the day is long.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's pull up the next one.
Giada De Laurentiis.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
This is an absolutely beautiful woman. Pictures do not do her justice.
Yes.
So she was touring a book. She was touring a cookbook. And I believe that William Sonoma actually was going to be selling the book through their stores, through their brick and mortar stores at Christmas. And so Giada was out doing the book tour. And the Palace Theater was one of the stops. And, you were supposed to buy a book to be able to have your picture taken with Giada. But I know a guy. So I bought a book, and I snuck in there at the end of the line. And, again, very, very pleasant, very nice.
Did she cook anything?
She did not, but she did review a few of the recipes in the book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she took questions. We had a couple microphones down in the front of the theater, and people got a chance to come up to the microphones toward the end of the show and ask questions.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, I've got that picture on my wall in the office.
Nice.
That's a keeper.
Time. Look at that. I'd be proud of that too.
Yeah.
Good looking couple of people right there.
I know. As Jason would say, very beautiful.
He's a handsome man. And the theater's not so bad either.
Let's pull up the next one, Jason.
So the band Chicago.
Yes.
One of the best concerts we've ever had at the Palace Theater. It's kind of a coup for us, right? Because Chicago tends to go out with like Earth, Wind, and Fire or the Doobie Brothers. They play much larger venues. And once a year, we have a gala. And with the gala, we tend to go for a big name artist. We pay a little bit more. The donors really come out and support us for that annual gala. And so we had the band Chicago a couple of years ago. And there's a funny story there too. The gala is typically in the spring. And we were supposed to have the gala. I think it was March 17th. No, March. I don't know. It wasn't St. Patrick's Day, but whatever it was in the spring. And it snowed, and we knew this was coming in. And again, the band was in New York. The production team was all in Stamford, except for 3 guys that had a delayed flight coming out of Detroit. And we just panicked. It's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Because if the band shows up, typically the show goes on. Yeah. And again, the luck of the Irish, guys. I'm Irish. And the governor of the state of Connecticut imposed a travel ban. And so the production trucks were sitting at a rest stop on I-95, and we had the show on a Tuesday night. It snowed like crazy overnight on Monday, and they had another show in Pennsylvania on Wednesday. And I called and I said, listen, guys, if you don't move those production trucks, you're going to lose the Tuesday show. You're going to lose the Wednesday show. And so we got it rescheduled. We got it rescheduled for September of that year, and everything worked out really, really well. The show was completely sold out, and the guys brought the house down.
Oh, man. They have to be exciting, all those horns. And
absolutely. And if you look at that picture, there's a guy who, what was the name of the lead singer? This guy over here with the beam. He looks like Owen Wilson.
Yes. You guys play trumpet? Wow.
I've seen Chicago twice, once with the Doobie Brothers and once with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I mean, it's just the show is electric. Chicago, they just pump it out like they're still young men. I'll tell you, it's so funny to see that. One of my favorite things though is when they go out on tour with those other bands. the end of their show they do together.
Right.
So they go like a Chicago tune, a Doobie Brothers tune, back and forth.
Right.
So think Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire. The center of the stage, there's 9 horns.
Yep. Yep.
And the paint is being peeled off the walls, man, because they're going to town like it's like fucking Super Bowl Sunday, and they're the marching band, man. It's amazing.
So we had Earth, Wind, and Fire too for the gala. Obviously, different years. So we've had some really great shows. Jerry Seinfeld did our gala one year. So,
but Jerry had no horns. Jerry had no horns.
No horn section. He went acoustic.
It's funny that you said Owen Wilson, because I always tell Mark he looks like a fat Owen Wilson.
Wow. Oh, it's mostly because I'm stoned all the time and say wow. He just stole Keanu Reeves' line. It was supposed to be whoa, and he was like, wow.
He turned Keanu into a 50s character. All right, what about this one?
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham.
This was a coup for us too. We don't do a lot of programming in the summertime because the summertime in Connecticut, there are outdoor concerts all over the place. And I got a call and I had an opportunity. I have to thank a fellow, a colleague who was going to be doing Jeff Dunham, I think in Englewood, New Jersey. And so he gave the agent my name. The agent called me up and said, yeah, let's make it work. It was August. And like I said, we usually do August. And the reason why we get the opportunity to do some of these shows is because, they're getting ready to go out with a new tour, right? Jeff typically does venues a lot bigger than 1,600 seats, but they, like anybody else, right? They got a new show. They want to take it out like Trevor Noah, right? And put it in front of an audience and see if it's going to work and see how the audience is going to respond. And if they have to, like in a play, right, you take notes. And if you have to go back and change something, you do. So Jeff came in and he had just done like this world tour. And he's a really, really pleasant guy. He works his tail off. He builds all these characters himself, right? He does this story about how, as a kid, I think in senior in high school or early college, he built a helicopter or something like that himself. And who doesn't like the characters? I mean, Ahmed, silence, I kill you. Hysterical show. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. And there's a lot of people that want to be ventriloquists today, and it's working out, right? Because you got to wear the mask.
The bad ones are the ones that have it on the puppet instead of them.
Interesting fact is
ventriloquist right now.
What's that?
In today's world, every comedian is a ventriloquist.
Yeah. No, very nice.
No, I was going to say that Jeff Dunham actually stole Mark Riccadonna's act, and that's why Mark does the stoner persona now, because he used to be a ventriloquist, and now
I was actually just the grumpy old man, not a ventriloquist. I was just
Walter.
I was just Walter.
I always said you look like a fat Jeff Dunham.
All right, so my favorite genre of music, believe it or not, is country music, but the new country. I mean, George Strait might be great, right? But I don't know what it was. 8 years ago, somehow, some way, I started to like Keith Urban, and then I got Sirius XM, and I put this, I don't know, the highway on, right?
Willie Nelson, or no, Willie's the Roadhouse.
Willie's the Roadhouse, and I started listening to this country stuff, and and I liked it. I said, "Oh my God, this is really cool." So I started to book some country stuff at the Palace, and believe it or not, the millennials love this stuff.
Wow!
So that was the Eli Young band, and so I had an opportunity to bring them in. Again, I don't do a lot in August, but they came up. They did an August show for me. Sold a ton of tickets. People were thanking me on the way out. Oh, my favorite band, Eli Young. And there was another big concert at one of the casinos that night. I can't remember who it was. Luke Bryan, maybe. And we still had a huge crowd for that show.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, the country fans come out for shows.
They do. And oh God, you know what? They consume alcohol. I had Chris Jansen at the Palace in January before this whole COVID crisis. And he had just had a #1 song on the Billboard charts, I don't know, 4 or 6 weeks before the show. We sold $13,000 at the bar that night.
Jesus, that was one guy.
We've never sold that much for one performance before. And so, you know, they're a fun-loving group of people. I'll tell you, they're up, they're dancing, they're having a good time.
That's awesome. So
I think one of the best things about booking your own venue is you get to see something you like, and like I'll see a movie and say, "Oh, to my friends, you got to see this." When you book your own venue, you could see a great show and say, "I got to get that. I got to let everybody I know see it."
Yeah, that's just what, you know, there's a lot of times people will pitch an idea to me, and I have no idea who the hell the artist is, but I've got to do a little research because we all have this tool too that we call it's Polestar, and so a lot of venues go and they report their concert grosses or their show grosses to Polestar. So I might go online and I might see that, you know, Justin, who, you know, is doing a tour, and Justin is selling out 400-seat venues, and that's great. But Richard is doing a tour too, and, you know, Richie's selling out 1,500-seat venues. So I got to pick and choose the things that I think will work in my venue. And so, you know, we've got tools.
If it comes to opera or Queen, go with Justin, not Richie.
Well, I know Justin's a theater guy. He came in with a prop today.
Yeah. I got it all. I mean,
I know who's getting me 1,500-seat venues. That's awesome. Suddenly, I got a great agent. Where did that come from?
So, because Mike, you have to get out of here in a minute. Let's do a roundtable real quick. Does anybody have a question for Mike? And then we'll let Justin close out Mike with maybe you could give us a song while Mike takes off, and then we'll come back and we'll the four of us talk.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah.
Can I start?
Yes.
Mike, how did you get involved in this?
So interestingly enough, the first job that I had when I quit my paper route was at a drive-in theater in Lewiston, Maine. And so, you know, I did that for like 8 years, and then I transferred to Waterbury, Connecticut. I talk about culture shock. But, you know, I made the transition, ended up going to work for a chain of movie theaters called Translux Theater, and they were based out of Norwalk. You know, I'm there for 20 years, and 26 years, I think, in motion pictures. And I get a call from the executive director at the Performing Arts Center, and he says, you know, would you come to work for us? We're having a problem in the box office. And I said, well, okay. So, I mean, I took a pay cut, but I knew I would never have to work on Thanksgiving or Christmas because the theater was always closed.
All right.
I had a couple of young kids at the time, my wife and I, and so, you know, we thought about it long and hard, and I made the jump. And I never thought when I started there in 2000 that I would end up being president and CEO, but it just worked out. It just worked out.
That's fantastic.
Yes, the pay went up.
The pay went up. Yeah.
Justin,
so yeah. I mean, well, of course, Rich stole my question, But Mike, you know, you've seen so many acts through the years. I mean, not just as someone who books them, but also someone who obviously enjoys live entertainment. If I had to twist your arm, what was your favorite act that you have seen from either side of the coin, either as someone who's booked it or just someone in the audience?
So again, country music just kind of took over for me, 8 years ago. And believe it or not, I had never been to a stadium show in my life.
Really?
And I smoked too many cigars, and I'm on the deck one day three summers ago, and it's a Sunday night, and I'm smoking a cigar, and my oldest daughter comes out and says, Dad, would you mind if I sit out here? I said, as long as you don't mind the smoke, it's fine. And she's got her laptop and she's tapping away, and she said, oh, there's a concert in Massachusetts next week. I said, really? She says, yeah. She said, Midland is opening, and they had a song out at the time called Drinking Problem, and I liked it. And so I said, oh, I know them. And then she said, oh, yeah, and Old Dominion is going to be there too. And I said, well, I love Old Dominion. They're pretty hot right now. And she said, and Thomas Rhett. I said, whoa, this is a show. And she said, and you haven't heard the best of it yet. No shoes, no shirt, no problem. Kenny Chesney is the headliner. So I said, oh, well, when I go to work tomorrow, I'll make a couple of calls. And I start making a couple of calls to see if I can get some tickets. And so I end up with I ended up calling Kenny Chesney's agent, right? And I said, yeah, can you work something out for us? And, they put me into a portal through the agency website, and I go in and I don't see what seats I'm getting or anything. I just pay for them, and we go up to Gillette Stadium, and Kenny and Robert Kraft are friends. And so he always does the last show on the tour in Gillette. And I
didn't know that.
And I was blown away. Show starts at 5, doesn't come down till 11 o'clock. And I just had the time of my life. I told somebody on Facebook that it was life-changing, and they laugh at me, but for me, it was, and so I went back the following year, and he tends to mix up the show a little bit. So we had Brothers Osborne and Dierks Bentley on the show, and had another great time. And I had my tickets for this past August, but COVID, so it's pushed until August of 2021, and I'm looking forward to it. I love country, and Kenny was the best show I've ever seen.
Well, listen, in the future, don't put Bob Kraft and Blown Away in the same sentence.
Oh God. Okay. All right.
Jason.
All right. Well, that kind of, I guess, answered my last question, sort of. My question, rather. If you could risk COVID for any show, if there's a show you say, I have the opportunity to book this, but there's a chance, because of COVID that people can get sick, but this show is too good, I can't pass it up. Is there any show besides Riccadonna, Richie, Byrne Live that you would risk?
I wish I could tell you yes, but I just finished telling you guys that we shut down the Halloween Spooktacular because safety first. In my heart, it really is safety first. I mean, I do feel like I have a responsibility to my staff, who work so incredibly hard for us, and to the general public. God, I don't know. I could throw a name out there and say, oh, sure, the Beatles, right?
Okay, fair enough.
You have to jump on that.
You can get all 4 of them.
Okay.
You get all 4 of them in one room. I mean, you got to take the opportunity, right?
Like, oh my God, it's John Lennon.
Make sure you have plenty of ventilation because of Lennon and Harrison.
Well, that would be a spectacular.
This concert sponsored by Ouija.
My question is, Mike, can we have you back?
Absolutely. Guys, I had a blast. This was a
lot. Mike, you were great.
It was so much fun chatting with you, man.
It's been my pleasure. And really, seriously, if you guys ever want to have me back, I'll do the 6 o'clock hour for me next time.
6 o'clock, yeah.
I'll pour a double instead of a half pour. And
I'll even have to drink that day.
We'll tear it up.
That sounds
Justin,
like
Justin, you want to sing Mike off?
Yeah, sure. He said that he likes country. So the only I was trying to think what Queen song. Plus, I'm wanted to do the bookends of what it is that I do. So the most country sounding Queen song on ukulele that I can think to do. I was just a little lad, never knew no good from bad, but I knew life before I left my nursery. Left alone with big fat Fanny, she was such a naughty nanny. Hey, big woman, you made a bad boy out of me. Come on! Oh, won't you take me home tonight? Oh, down beside your red fine light. Oh, and you give it all you got. Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round. Yeah, fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
All right. Thanks again, Mike.
All right, guys. Listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Take care.
Justin, that was fantastic. And real quick, just want to put it out there. Richie, we finally had our music guest.
Say what?
We finally had our music guest.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, you got a musical guest.
It's me.
Jason's, are you paying attention to this show? Or he has the TV on behind the camera.
Sorry, I was watching Tom and Jerry. I haven't seen him in years.
He's watching a Dukakis town hall meeting that he taped on beta.
Richie and I have been talking about having a musical guest since we started this, because Richie is also a musician.
Yeah.
Nice.
We've had singers on, but they don't sing. They never sang live.
Yeah.
Oh.
We've wanted to do that since we started going into studios. Now we want to bring in some bands and bring in some singers, and we just haven't gotten around to it. So you're up first, Justin.
I have never been more happy to pop the cherry of a man named Richie.
So Justin, do you do comedy too, or you?
I'm just funny
Justin is
looking.
very funny.
That's all. I'm just funny looking. That's all.
And how did you guys end up doing a show?
So
I was.
You guys hook up, but then I thought better of it.
We did a bear version of The Bachelor. And Justin was the Bachelor, and
Jason's my little cubby.
well,
I'm thinking, what does that mean? Like a smaller version of the? I didn't know what that meant.
I think technically, since I've learned over the years that actually Jason would be what they call an otter, not a bear.
what is an otter?
I don't know, but I want to know
It's
why
a smaller bear.
Why have you learned this? Like, what research have you been doing, Mark?
Yeah, what is an otter?
I've hung out with Gino more than 15 minutes.
Shout out to Gino.
Justin, for those listening at home, that's Gino from South Philly.
Yeah. He's been on the show.
Gino Vento.
Yeah.
Gino Vento, the steak guy.
Yes.
Yes.
So the real story of how Jason and I met, real quick, is we actually met through Julia Scotti before her stint on America's Got Talent. She was working up her act again with a little thing called the Julia Scotti Comedy Test Kitchen.
It's like a cabaret in South Philly.
Yeah, and so I actually met Chris Rich, and she brought me into that because Chris Rich and I were at a wedding, and we hit it off, and she said, "Oh, let me introduce you to my husband. He's an academic guy, he's a teacher. Don't worry if you say something and he doesn't laugh. He never laughs at my stuff." And before I left, I said, you guys were really, you're really sweet people. I look forward to seeing you again. I'll invite you out to one of my shows, the next time I play the methadone clinic or something. And he started laughing his ass off. And that's when Chris was just like, okay, we need to hang out. And then she brought me into this Julia Scotti Comedy Test Kitchen, and Jason became a part of that whole hodgepodge. And it was like a live variety show. We had such a great time, and Jason and I just kept in touch.
Wow. Yeah. And Justin, you reminded me when you said you and Chris hit it off, then she introduced her to your husband. I was at a bar once in North Jersey, and I thought I was doing great with this woman. This is pre-marriage. I thought I was doing great with this woman, and she mentioned her husband. I said, "Husband?" She said, "Yeah, he's at the bar watching us. He likes to watch me flirt with other men." It just blew. I've never experienced that before. It was that's what you reminded me of. I didn't know Chris Rich was into that, but
he likes to watch me flirt with other men and then stab them.
Well, I kind of feel that way today because I like to watch Mark flirt with other shows.
But it's just secretly because Richie wants me to leave and join another show.
No, you're my otter and you know it.
Richie, can I tell you, I know it's been a long time since I've seen you, but
Yes, it is.
I love the wood on that door behind you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we had that put in. It opens up. It's a slide door.
The door opens?
Yeah, it's a slide
That's
door.
amazing. I thought it was just for show.
No, it opens up into the living room. Hold on.
It's actually a door that opens up. Imagine that.
Oh, it's one of those pocket doors. I like it.
Oh, it is a sliding
That's
door.
sexy.
Look at that. More pocket action.
And I love that. I got to tell you, I love that clock that you have there. You're talking about
this. Okay, my wife found this at Goodwill and turned it into art. It was like $20 at Goodwill. It's from 1938. It was some retirement gift for somebody on the plaque here. And she put old artifacts and things in it. Thanks. I'll tell her.
They call that a grandfather clock, but if you go to Florida, it's just a clock.
Technically, this is a grandmother clock.
Okay. I'll let myself out.
I still love Richie's line. I think that was my favorite line of the day. I love your door. Thanks. It opens up.
I don't want to say the show went downhill after Mike, but
and I'm the only one not drinking.
Does it now? The door opens up. It's amazing.
What does the sign say?
Oh, I wrote this on here. It was my quote. All the world is a stage, and most of us are desperately unrehearsed.
Okay.
Now, today was perfect because it came up at the beginning because we were kicking ass until we finished the drink, and then all of a sudden it was like,
"Oh, this is nice, Beckett." Damn it!
He was a great guest.
What a great guest! We have to definitely have him back on. We have to have you guys definitely back on and do another dual show.
This was fun, man.
So, Justin, do you have a song you want to take us out on? We're going to do a different ending. Usually I just out of nowhere go, that's Street Jokes and Storytelling, and I cut everyone off. But I didn't warn you about that.
Great show, guys. Great show.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, this has been, I mean, such a great time. First off, it's great to meet you, Richard. It's
right now, you look a little bit like Robert Klein.
Mark, I'm so not together today. I just threw on a shirt and got in front of the camera. I now I have this 2-hour drive to go do Uncle Vinny's.
Richie, let me say thank you for putting on the shirt.
I don't always wear it when we do the show. It's very weird in the studio. When we go in the studio, shirtless.
He just wears a lobster bib. No pants, nothing.
Fronte a te, o sole, mio, stai in fronte a te, stai in fronte a te.
Now sing It's Now or Never.
It's now or never. I should have done that earlier. I could have gotten in on that Three Kings.
Yeah. That was great, Justin.
I could have been bloated and dead on the toilet, Elvis.
He's the best one.
I got to get out, boys.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Richie.
Good seeing you.
Nice to meet you too. See you, Jason. Talk to you later.
Richie,
See you.
You got it.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Mark, thank you. It's been great cohabitating with you for this show.
Let's do it again.
Looking forward to it, my friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Riccadonna. I'm not used to not having a studio audience, so you guys gotta. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Mark.
Bye.
Leave.
This is a big day. Mark will account for this. this is a new computer. My old computer didn't have a camera. That's how old it was. And when we were doing the show in the past, our former partner sent me a computer so I could use that to do this. But I went out and bought a computer, and that's why it took me so long to get on, because it was going to a different.
He couldn't get it out of the box.
It was.
Richie, don't change for your show tonight. You look great. I like the look.
Jason, can you send me the file of this?
Excuse me. Yes. Richie, you had one of the best heckles. One of my favorites from the Rascals days. I remember there was a guy wearing sunglasses in the room, and he was kind of talking to his girlfriend during your act. He was being really obnoxious, and you called him out on it, and you said, "Sorry, I'm not hip enough for you." And the guy stood up and pointed to you and said, "You're not hip enough for a walrus." It made absolutely no sense. It was,
I don't remember that.
You just laid into him for that. Chris Clayton and I were talking about that for a while.
Wow. Is walrus like a gay term? Maybe.
I have no idea what that meant.
Air otter, walrus. Maybe?
It's a wet shaved aquatic bear.
You guys do you just go live whenever, or do you have a set time? We
don't do it live because we have a lot of dead space.
Yeah.
So it's better to edit that way. Yeah. And plus I remember there's some instances where like Julia Scotti was on and she gave her own personal information out, like email. Right. We said, give us your website. So she gives her email address. We didn't want to broadcast that to the public.
So you're telling me Julia Scotti is your Richie Byrne? I think we should put it out at like the same time. Like if you guys are going to put it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you wait one more week? Because next Tuesday we wanted to do KP Burke, and then we can try to do this as a third. Or do you want to do this?
No, that's totally fine. I mean, even if you put it out before us, because Jason, I have kind of an idea for us to kind of get things stacked up again and to give us a little bit of momentum with our stuff. So,
cool.
I mean,
don't tell them what it is. Don't tell Richie and Mark what it is.
Well, they've been doing this for what is this? You said your third season,
and now they're up to they're joining us, so they're not doing too well.
That's a great point, Jason. It's really not taking off. It's not what we envisioned for season 3.
This is the sizzler of comedic podcast, right?
Get on our show, your career's over.
What do you think? I'm made of money?